The South African Social Security Agency, Sassa, is continuing its review process for social grant beneficiaries suspected of having additional sources of income and not disclosing those to the agency. Over 200,000 Sassa beneficiaries faced delays in their June grant payments due to income irregularities. The issue stems from a recent cross-check between the agency's system and registered credit bureaus, which revealed that around 210,000 grant recipients may be earning income that they didn't declare when applying for their grants. This raises red flags under the Social Assistance Act, which requires applicants to truthfully disclose all sources of income and to report any changes to their financial situation after approval. Well, in response to this, the agency initiated a review which is intended to ensure continued eligibility and prevent misuse of funds. The South African Social Security Agency has disbursed August social grants to beneficiaries in the first week of August and will continue the next phase soon. So let's get a sense of how it's all going. I'm joined by Paseka Letsatsi, who is Sassa's spokesperson. Paseka, good afternoon. I believe this may be the third month, if I'm not mistaken, pay cycle in which you've been undertaking this review. Tell me how it's going and how the month of August has played out in relation to how it was done the past few months.
Good afternoon, Tula Sizo, and Sassa would want to wish all the women a happy Women's Day. I think we have basically gone on a campaign as an organization, and I think there's nothing extraordinary, Tula Sizo. You are quite right. We have been publicizing it for the past 3 months, just to make sure that people are aware in terms of their responsibility. And in this case, people are basically responsible to make sure that when you come to make an application at the Sassa office, they become honest, they disclose everything to us, and we're able to assess them in terms of implementing the means test.
And how is the review going as you do it month to month in terms of the intended purpose to unearth instances where people were less than candid about sources of income that they may have? Have you at least achieved that? Because, much of the focus tends to be, and rightly so, on the inconvenience that occurs within the system. But is the process at least managing to achieve its purpose, unearthing people who perhaps intentionally did not disclose sources of income?
It is giving us positive results, Tula Sizwe. We were in Mafikeng a day before yesterday with the CEO of Sassa, Mr. Temba Matlo. We attended, we went to a local office to interact with beneficiaries. And I think now people understand what we are trying to achieve. Tula Sizwe, people thought we are after them, we are trying to kick them out of the system, and fairly so. But when we explain the reason behind this, some of them said we were not aware. We are coming here to make sure that we cancel the grant because I've got an employment. We thought together with the communities and beneficiaries, we must take responsibility and make sure that we educate and make each other understand that it is the responsibility of a beneficiary to make sure that if their situation in terms of employment or otherwise changes, they need to inform us. And I think the process went well. There were about 700 people who came forward at that local office, and about 100 of them, we had to cancel the grant immediately because their condition changed. When
we say people are coming forward that have a source of income and say, I am going to cancel the grant because I have a certain source of income, that's commendable, right? But are we talking here people who have significant income, or are we talking someone who's receiving, and I've heard these examples, perhaps 1,000 rand as a form of support from relatives? How do you distinguish that you don't catch in that dragnet people who, it's not necessarily income, it's just some kind of financial support that perhaps breaches your threshold of what you define as income, perhaps by 50 rand or something?
No, you're quite right. People have got nothing to fear. Look, in terms of the threshold, in particular to old age grant, if I have to make an example about the old age grant, it's 8,900 rand. But secondly, all that we are simply saying to us is we're not saying we'll stop your grant because somebody, your daughter or someone gave you 2,000 rand. We are saying if there's a consistent income, for an example, we have someone who's got about 30,000 coming into their account every month. Just explain to us why there's 30,000 which is coming into your account every month, and would then be able to engage with you and find out exactly what is happening. The intention is not punitive. The intention is to make sure that the money which the state has got, it goes to relevant individuals. And I think if you come forward and explain that my daughter is giving me 2,000 rand or 3,000 rand a month, would then be able to understand and you would present a case to us. But all that we are simply saying is that don't hide, don't run away, because Thulasiso, if I may explain, a person would come to us with the bank X details, right? And they would go and open an account somewhere else, and the money would go into that particular account. And unfortunately, we have a memorandum of understanding. The system that we have can be able to check if you have any income which is coming to any bank account which you open somewhere, which we did not give to Sassa in any case.
Sure. I hear that you're saying the intention is not punitive. It's for people to come forward and explain in instances where it looks like there's some other source of income. So that's the case of people, I suppose, who had no clear intention to defraud the system. But what you just described now as an example sounds to me that it would happen in instances where someone knows that, you know, I might breach the income levels of Sassa here for me to continue to be eligible for the grant. How much are you looking to be punitive towards that sector of beneficiary?
What we have done, we would send you basically a message. We have your cell number, we have your address for the first month. The second month we'll do the same. The third month we'll continue to do the same. And if you don't come forward, unfortunately, we'll be left with no option but to cancel or suspend your grant. And I think once we suspend the grant, we would expect a person to come forward and say, my grant has been suspended. But secondly, Thulasiso, why would a person who needs money, for an example, stay for 5 months if we have cancelled the grant, not to come forward and make a complaint? So in this instance, we are targeting, if I have to put it very clearly, Thulasiso, we know that there are people who used to short circuit the system. We are also targeting the fraudsters who came forward and gave falsified information. So these are the individuals. Yes, there are individuals who made mistakes, who presented the case without trying to defraud the state. Hence, the interaction between us and them is cordial. But our aim is to make sure that we root out fraud within the grant system.
All right, I've got to thank you for your time this afternoon. That's Paseka Letsatsi, who is the Sassa spokesperson, South African Social Security Agency, speaks on behalf of that agency.